I promise this is going to be a 30-minute session, or as close to that as I can reasonably make it. So let's get started. First of all, again, welcome and thank you so much for joining us today, especially during this shortened holiday week. You may have plans for the 4th of July coming up in a couple days, so I really appreciate you taking the time to spend with us today. Obviously, our topic is when you need it now. True on-demand services for Salesforce. I'm going to talk more about that in a little bit. So let me begin, of course, with introducing myself. There you go. My name is Bob Schechterle. I'm the Vice President of Marketing here at Accelerize 360, and I will be your one and only presenter today. Again, for 30 minutes, we're going to give you a little overview and then run through a demo. So it should be an exciting thing. A few housekeeping topics before we get started. We are recording this session, so I want everybody to know that. We will, of course, post the recording and make it available. Since most of today is going to be a live demo, there's not a lot of slides. So we're not going to have slides that we're going to publish. We always get the question, are the slides going to be available? They will be as part of the recording. You don't need a slide. I mean, if you really want a photo of me to put up in your office or your cubby, you can get it off the recording as well. We're going to handle Q&A at the end. You can ask questions. We're going to do it electronically. So you'll see in your go to webinar box, the session, a box that says questions. You can enter them there, and we'll get to them at the end of the session. We also have a survey for you, which will be presented through GoToWebinar when the session ends and you get ready to log out. Please take the time to take the survey, and as a matter of fact, I'm going to give you a little incentive when we get to the end here. So that's important to us, and hopefully you can take the extra minute or two to do that. And then, as I said, lastly, good news, we got, this is a half-hour deal. So hopefully everybody can stay attentive and interested, and that's my job, of course. And we'll get through this. So I'm very excited to be able to talk about the topic today. On-demand services is something that we see in many places in the marketplace other than Salesforce. We do see it occasionally in Salesforce, and I'll talk about that in the Salesforce markets anyway from service providers. But I promised in the title to change your perception of what you think of in terms of on-demand services for Salesforce. And I'm making a claim. I'm claiming that Accelerize 360's new offering here is true on-demand, which of course implies that all the others are false, right? So they're dirty prevarications. We're going to walk through that, and hopefully at the end of this time you'll agree with me. So I'm going to show you some compelling proof and hopefully some statements to back that up. So with that in mind, let's take a little look at who we are. There may be some of you here who are our customers or are familiar with Accelerize 360 or our parent company Codeforce 360. But if you're not, I want to just take a few minutes. I promise not to make this a long message from our sponsor, but I think it's important for you to understand as part of where we got to this solution I'm going to be presenting you today. So, I've been in the tech sector a long time. Think back to my picture there. I don't have that much hair left. And while I've dealt with a lot of companies in both products and services, I do find Accelerize 360 to be unique. Yes, I work here, but I haven't always worked here, so I bring a lot of experience to the table. A couple of key areas. Accelerize is not about maximizing our billings, but rather our client success. Sounds like a good tagline, right? But the way we go about it, really highlights that. We don't just sit down and write down customer requirements and charge off to do the work. We take the time to understand the business, look for opportunities to innovate. Innovation is a key watchword of ours, right? So finding new ways, both for your organization, the problems you're trying to solve, and for the overall way you're approaching your business. We help use those innovations to help you accelerate your business and accelerate your path to thus achieving your goals and objectives. So innovate, accelerate, achieve. That's kind of the foundation of what we do and the approach we take. Certainly, we would like to have maximized billings, but not at your expense. It's through the way that we deliver value. As a matter of fact, you can see that we've made some success here. On the left is a list of partners. Not all partners, but those are ones
we're
that we
not seeing the
expect.
screen.
Okay. Have you seen the screen at all up to this point?
No.
Let me try this again. I apologize. Are you seeing the screen now?
Yes.
Okay. I apologize for that. I had to stop sharing and reshare. I love technology. So here you are. This is the slide I was talking about. Before this, all you saw was my face, so no great loss. On the left, partners. Names you should recognize. On the right, a partial sample of our customer list. Now, we have customers from the Fortune 100 to growing small and medium businesses, companies of all sizes. So, and that reflects Salesforce's customer stable as well. And as a matter of fact, we offer cloud services across a variety of solutions, but are really focusing on Salesforce in particular with the solution I'm going to discuss today. So we help these people on the right get the biggest bang possible for their buck. How do we do that, you might ask? Here we go. Next slide. What we do and why on-demand. So I'm going to talk very briefly about the left-hand part of this slide, just to set up on the right our discussion on on-demand. So we do a variety of services. We provide a variety of services within that framework I just talked to you about, right? Solution implementation, either from initial solution, or perhaps you already have Sales Cloud deployed and it's time to move to Service Cloud, or Pardot as part of marketing automation, internal integration, upgrades, lots of different things on the implementation table that we help clients with. If you have it, we have something called Value Wave to help you use it more effectively, to get the most return you can out of Salesforce, essentially to help you realize the promise of Salesforce. Value Wave is a great way to do that through a variety of service and support offerings that I'm not going to go into today. And then, of course, consulting and staff augmentation. So whether it's a custom consulting project that you might need help with, moving with Salesforce 1 to mobility, for instance, or creating a custom app in Force.com, we help our clients with that as well. And then most currently, we want to talk today about on-demand. Okay? This is something that's brand new, by the way. You're the first folks to hear about this outside of Accelerize 360 and our partners. So you got the inside track. Thanks for joining. And I want to talk a little bit about how we got there, right? Salesforce is clearly a very powerful and broad solution, right? Lots of capabilities. I mean, I've touched on Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Pardot. Within that, lots of features. And as a matter of fact, every release are more features. Some are simple, some are very complex, some rely on others. As a result, it's difficult for any one person to be an expert in everything. Some people are. And as a matter of fact, some people on this call may be. But keeping up with that is a full-time job. As a matter of fact, it's our full-time job. So even if you are an expert, you don't always have the time to deliver everything you can deliver to your organization, right? And if you have Salesforce, you might have a support plan there. What our customers tell us is that can be a long wait. So I don't want to say anything bad about Salesforce. They're a great organization with a great solution, but it's a big company. So sometimes the wait time between asking a question and getting a response can be rather long. And as a result, there are services companies out there like Accelerize 360. They, of course, offer those things, right? Contracts, and they come along and they say, okay, we want you to sign a contract for a service, make a commitment, set up a project. We do those things, and I just talked about that. But customers, prospects, and you know what? Even our conversations with Salesforce sales reps, these conversations, they tell us that there has to be an easier way, right? If I'm trying to solve, or you're trying to solve, either a simple Salesforce problem quickly, or a more complex one that you simply don't have the in-house expertise for, or you can solve it but you don't have the bandwidth for, why do you have to sign a contract, make a commitment, manage a large project? Some things may require that, but they all don't. That's where on-demand comes into play, right? That's what the need we've decided to address. When you need the expertise or the bandwidth, Let's make it fast, easy, and reasonably priced, right? Let's handle both simple requests, maybe a simple report, to complex ones. You need help with the trigger, or difficult workflow, or object customization. Something that you can have access to 24/7. That means it has to be online, right? To be on demand, you need access whenever you need it. That pretty much means being online, and as a matter of fact, you need to be able to buy it online. It's not enough to simply be able to go, yes, there's a website I can go to and learn about these services and actually set up a call with somebody. How do I actually transact? That's what on-demand is about. All right, so some of you may be thinking, well, I've heard that before. As a matter of fact, there are other companies out there that are using the term on-demand, but I believe that we're different. And I think that you're going to see today that some of those key differences are in these areas. Clearly defined deliverables, right? Doesn't require a project. We offer a stated delivery time frame, okay? A firm price. You're going to know what you'll pay up front for most items. Clearly, there are some things that are very complex, or you want something that's unique to your business. That's custom, but you're going to see that that's the smaller percent, not the larger percent of what we're offering when it comes to on-demand, even for something as complex as a trigger. No contracts, no commitments. Your commitment is for what you buy. Our commitment to you is to deliver what you buy with quality, with service, and on time. We're not going to make you sign, certainly there are standard terms of service like any e-commerce site, but there's no contract for you to sign, no long-term agreement to enter into, and there's no risk, right? We're going to make sure that you're happy before we say we're done. What I've seen on the other on-demand sites, I see on-demand for a general category like on-demand admin. It's mainly an excuse to get you on the phone, right? As far as prices, usually I see, if anything, usually no price. If anything, I've seen a quoted rate, an hourly rate. There's usually a services agreement that goes along with that then. Once you talk to them and hear what their menu is and you want to enter into something, there's going to be a contract for you to sign and an opportunity for them to upsell. And your risk is going to be higher, right? How long is it going to take? How much is it really going to cost based on an hourly rate? And how happy are you going to be at the end? At Accelerize, with our on-demand, we're going to provide you just the help you need, when you need it, and at the right price. And I'm going to show you a little bit about that in a minute here. So let's see a demo. All right, that's big talk, but as they say in Missouri, show me. So that's what this is about. Now I will take one, actually I'm going to make two qualifications for you. The first is, this is really going to be a live demo. So let's hope the tech gods cooperate, right? This is sometimes dangerous for those of you that have perhaps been to technology webinars in the past. Technology sometimes fails. As a matter of fact, we had a screen presentation problem earlier in this webinar. But I think we're going to be able to do it. The second qualification, and give me a minute here. Here we go. This is the site. We're live. Right now, I wanted to call your attention in the upper left because you're going to notice it anyway. You'll notice it says staging. Yes, in fact, we are doing this live demo in our development environment. The site is getting ready to go down. We're going to go live. We are actually going to begin the migration later today to the live site. And it should be up fully live at the end of the holiday weekend. So you are really getting the inside view here before anybody else does. But everything you see here is ready to go, and as I say, is migrating to production this evening. So with that in mind, I'm going to talk a little bit. We're going to focus. There's a lot to see here, but we're going to really focus on on-demand. As a matter of fact, if I hover over our services menu, you can see on-demand is with the first in that list, and there's a lot of things. I'm not going to talk to you about them now because I'm going to show you in a minute, but there's a lot here. What I am going to start with is like any e-commerce site. If you're a returning customer, and by the way, you don't need to register in order to shop. You don't have to register at all until you actually check out if you're buying something. But I have registered in the past, no surprise there. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in so that later on in the session we can take a look at that. I could also create a new account here if I needed to, but I'm going to go ahead and just log myself in. And there we go. Now you see it tells me I'm welcome. So So we're all set to go. So let's say you're ready to shop, right? This is on demand. I want to see it, man. So let's go to the on-demand main page. See what we have here. All right, so we obviously have information about what the service is, tell you a little bit about why it's valuable, talked about those 4 key things I mentioned earlier, the defined deliverables, the price, no contracts, and no risk. And then here's a list, and it probably extends beyond the ability to see all at once, and I'll scroll down. But this is I need help with. These are the on-demand services that we are providing as part of our Go Live this evening. So you see reports, dashboards, analytic snapshots, simple things, and then the more complex ones, triggers, object customization, data management, even some on-demand services around Pardot and Service Cloud, Salesforce 1, and Visualforce Pages. And you know what? If you don't see what you want, that's okay. We can do more. And so you can either have the option here of clicking on that link and going to a form where you can actually tell us what you're interested in from an on-demand perspective that you don't see here, and then we'll get back to you to have that conversation. Or you can go right ahead and click chat here, and we're going to explore that a little bit in a minute, but that's something you'd expect to see on any e-commerce website again, and we have it as well. So you can see quite a coverage in terms of the on-demand services that we're providing and we're coming out with right out of the gate. So I'm going to start simple. I'm going to start with reports. Many of you probably already know how to create a Salesforce report. Some of you may not. Even if you do, sometimes it's not a question of ability, it's a question of timing, right? Sometimes it's a matter of bandwidth. Somebody needs a report for a meeting tomorrow, a briefing later in the day, the next day, and you're caught up in another project or you're off-site or whatever, and you just don't have time to do it. That might be a time that you'd be looking for an on-demand report. So this takes us to the on-demand report page. You'll see here we have an overview about the report services, as well as a discussion of the major kinds of support of reports that we support in an on-demand perspective. So tabular, summary, and matrix, and joined. And as a matter of fact, we have samples here in case you really want to see what that means. So there's a tabular report popped up, summary or matrix, and even a joined report. Right? So right here, you can at least learn about what our options are and what we might have to do to offer you. And then if I scroll down a little more, here's the actual report packages, right? We have standard reports, complex reports, and joined reports. And you can see right there, we tell you what they cost. Simple standard report, $60. I mean, I don't know about you. I've been responsible for a Salesforce environment in my past, and there have been plenty of times when offloading a report that I knew how to do but didn't have time for $60 was well worth it. Complex, double that, and joined, that's a little more difficult, obviously, so more expensive. And then we'll tell you a little bit here about exactly what makes those things different. So standard report, standard objects, standard fields, one of those 3 types. Notice it says 3 days to deliver. That's the top end. Our objective is to get you these deliverables from on-demand as quickly as we can. And as a matter of fact, for a standard report, our internal target is to get it to you the same day. We realize that that might not always be possible, but we will always, once we see your requirements, let you know if there's something that's going to make this more difficult. But we commit to 3 days, and we strive to do it in one as fast as we possibly can. Now, so there they are. Before I decide which one of these I want to continue and take a look at in the demo, let's say you're here and you go, okay, you know, I've taken some time, or my user has, and built an Excel spreadsheet, a layout of what I want this thing to look like already. And I want to share that. So I'm wondering if there's some way to upload that document that I have, and maybe it's a Word doc, I happen to pick a spreadsheet, whatever, so that I can share that with Accelerize as part of this process. So if you notice at the bottom here, there's some FAQs. I can come down here and look and see if it tells me if it answers that question. I don't see that among this list of things. This is probably a good time for a chat. So let's see Good news. We would love to chat. So is there a way to upload a sample file? Wow, I even typed it properly. So I'm assuming that we have folks on the other end of the chat line. And yes, Susan, thank you, Susan, has joined us and said yes. When you select the package you want to purchase, there will be an option to upload a file. There you go. I can obviously engage chat whenever I need with any kind of question at any point in the process here. So let's go ahead and order a standard report, right? And this is what Susan was referring to. In order to be able to gather the information that we need to deliver that report, we're going to pop up a window here to gather that. So you can see right here I can define what object do I want it created on, what type of report do I want, we saw that earlier. Are there filters in my report? What columns and groupings might I need? What are the filter criteria? I just want to see all records. Additional comments. You can explain in more detail here what you want. And here's that upload. So I'm not going to do that right now, but I could simply click choose file and be taken to your normal file explorer window. I guess it depends on what platform you're running. In Windows, it could be that. In Mac, it would be something else. But select the file, click upload, and it'll be here, and it'll become part of this dialogue of information that you're providing to us to do your report. Once I've done that, I'm going to submit it. Tells me that that's great. It was actually able to grab those details. And it's taken me to the checkout cart. Now, notice you have the ability to continue shopping. I'm actually going to do that right at the cart in the checkout process. So let me go here to continue shopping. And I'm actually going to jump quickly down to triggers. Right? As a matter of fact, I might have chosen to do a dashboard to go with that report. But in this case, I want to look at triggers for a very specific reason. We offer 3 types of triggers: standard, complex, and custom. Certain of our on-demand offerings are just that, one of the other offering levels. So if you should choose Order Now on one of those ones that says Custom, you're going to come to a screen that looks like this. You notice it says, thanks for your interest, and given the complexity, we need to gather some more information. As a matter of fact, here's a form to do that, or click to chat down here in the corner to go ahead and have a conversation with one of our representatives. Right? So if in fact something is either that I don't see what I need more, that's taking you here as well, or I pick one of the custom on-demand solution options, this is where you would go. So let's go back to our cart. And let's take a look at what we have here in terms of completing our transaction. All right, well, this should look like an e-commerce cart to you, right? This is on demand. This is not somebody on a website that says on-demand admin, click here to submit your information and somebody will call you back. This is you buying a standard report online yourself. A couple things here. Notice coupon code. I'm going to talk to you about coupons in just a minute at the end of the session. But if you do have one, you can put it here and get a discount. All the things you'd expect to see, right? What am I buying? A standard report. What's the price? How many of them? There's the total. If I change something like the quantity, I can update the cart. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and proceed to check out. All right, now, if I were not already signed in as a returning user, I would be asked here to create a user profile, right? If you're going to be buying something from us, we need to know a little bit about you. That's standard. In this case, since I already am logged in, it is showing me my billing details, right, that I've already, when I created my login, I entered, as well as some order notes. Another opportunity for you to add anything here like, I really need this today. Can you deliver? Whatever you want to tell us here. summary of your cart, and then what you'd expect to see down here in terms of some payment options. Now, by the way, right now, purchase order will be another option here when we finish the migration. It's not here right now because we're in the staging site. But the PO, if you have one, will be another option, which of course will then take it to, will require us to do a verification step on our side before we can complete, before we can start work on the project. But in this case, we're going to go with a simple, let's see if I get the numbers right here. Credit card. And I have to, of course, say that I've accepted the terms. I can read them if I want, and place order. Credit card is not valid. I think I need another 0. Okay, that's all right. I planned for this. This is, as I told you, we're migration, so the test credit card number information isn't working. But that's okay. Let's jump back because we're pretty much at the end of the demo anyway. All it's going to tell us is that your payment is processed. I happen to have a screen capture of that so that we can take a look. Here we go. You're done. So had I been able to process that bogus credit card, this is the screen I would have been presented with. Thank you for your order. You notice we tell you a couple things here. You're going to get 2 emails from us. You're going to get a confirmation of your payment, which is standard e-commerce practice, and an introduction from our services team telling you what's going to happen next. So this doesn't just disappear into a black hole somewhere. We're going to actually tell you what those processes are. As a matter of fact, here is an example of that email. I didn't show you an example of the payment confirmation because we all know what those look like. Thank you for your order. Here's what's going to happen. We're going to contact you to get some login credentials so that for your environment so that we can get in and start building, in this case, the report you've asked us to build. We're going to create the item and test it. We have a QA and testing regimen we go through on every single thing we deliver. So you know that we believe it works according to spec and it doesn't have any negative impact on other parts of your system. And if it's a custom quote, right, if this was something like a custom trigger, we'll review the deliverable to make sure it meets your specified needs. Now, if you have a problem with anything from us, we'll do that anyway. But if it's a custom one, that is obviously clearly required. And down at the bottom of this email, you'll see that we tell you if you have any questions, here's your order number, here's the telephone where you can reach us, and here's the support email address. And we'll continue this interaction then through the process as needed with chat, with call, with email, however you prefer to interact with us. From us, as I said, system credentials, follow-up, and then ultimately delivery. From you, you might want to know about status, you might have questions or want to share some clarifications with us, or you might have questions about the deliverable. But we'll continue that interaction in one of these ways. So again, nothing is how do you say, unreachable. And then receive your deliverable. Here's a simple, standard tabular report that we asked for. This is, of course, the sample I had popped up earlier, but you will get from us, when it's ready, instructions on, what it's named, where to find it, how to use it, what the options are, etc., so that you can immediately begin using that solution from us. Okay? We're at the 30 minutes. I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to answer 1 or 2 questions. And we'll go from there. So again, this is why I think this is true on-demand services, right? This is an e-commerce transaction. This is not something where you have to contact somebody else in order to complete this. It's what you need when you need it. Fast, easy. I think you saw reasonably priced. And it's a range of things. It's not just the simplest. I did a standard report because that was a quick step through. But I showed you that we do triggers, we do workflows, we do object customization as part of on-demand, and you'll see prices for those things. You buy it through the website in a standard e-commerce transaction with a cart and a checkout process anytime you need it. And you can communicate with us the same way with the deliverables, the firm price, no contract, and no risk. Open for business July 7th. That's Monday. As I said, we're doing the migration tonight and tomorrow, and We obviously want some time over the holiday weekend to run through its paces. But here's our offer for today. For joining us today, and if you complete the post-webinar survey, that's how eager I am to get your information, you're going to receive an email from us with a coupon code. And that coupon code will be for a free standard report through OnDemand. So please complete the survey. And now I'm going to do a little bit of Q&A. Let's see what we've got here in terms of questions before we sign off. So, I have one here that says, what if I have a problem with the on-demand deliverable? I think I mentioned this earlier. We'll work with you to correct any errors or deficiencies in the defined specifications, right? Your satisfaction is guaranteed. We want to make sure that what we provide for you is what you asked for and that it solves the problem. Somebody asked, how long will it take? I think I've answered that already, but we endeavor on the simple things like reports and dashboards to give them to you to the same day, but we will always, on that order page, tell you what the delivery time frame is. And then lastly, this is a good one, I kind of touched on it, but what quality controls do you have? We have a standard QA and testing regimen. We use this on every single project, whether it's a standard report or a complex trigger or object or data migration, data management solution service. We want to ensure that the deliverables perform as specified. They don't have any unintended impacts on the other parts of your system, right? That's part of the testing. It's not just, yes, that looks like what I asked for, but gee, it broke something else. We want to make sure that doesn't happen as part of our Q&A. So you can rest assured that not only when I say no risk, I mean no risk in terms of satisfaction, I mean no risk in terms of impacts on the rest of your system. So with that, it's 1:33. Now, to be fair, I started at 1:02, so I'm really only 1 minute over. I want to thank you again for having joined us today, and I encourage you to do two things. Look for the email, well, three, sorry. Fill out the survey. Number two, look for that email with the coupon code. And number three, visit the site on Monday and, order your standard report. So thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you on future webinars. Goodbye.